Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. Click on that, and it will have all of the qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. Okay, so today I am traveling, obviously, and I am wearing a shirt just for you guys, and it says, "Only you can prevent drama," and it's the No Drama Llama. And that is apropos of today's topic, because today's topic is going to be, hi Dawson, today's topic is going to be on how to handle the holidays. So the holidays are a minefield when you've got narcissists in the family. It really is. It's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So you've got to be really kind of have a plan in place and decide how you're going to handle it, what you're going to do, you know, that whole thing. Well, now with the whole COVID thing, that kind of is a great excuse to not have to go somewhere. So let's break it down. If you're a new couple, what ends up happening is that if there's narcissists on both sides, like let's say in-laws are narcissistic, the hello Spain, the your parents are narcissistic, and there's this stuff going on. What they will do is they will fight over the new couple, and it's a win if they can force the couple to go to their house or the other house. Does that make sense? So, and it's terrible for new couples, because when you first get married, it's like you want to create your own traditions. You want to do your own thing. You want to, kind of make new traditions kind of thing. But if you've got narcissistic in-laws and narcissistic parents, they'll sit there and they'll guilt trip you. No, you need to come here. No, you need to come here. No, you need to stay Christmas Eve with us. Well, no, you need to stay Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with us. And I cannot tell you the number of couples I've had sit on my couch in tears because the families have been doing the fear, the obligation, and the guilt, fear, obligation, guilt, which is the fog. So what my advice is with new couples is you simply tell both sets of parents, we're not going anywhere this year. I mean, number one, we've got COVID, right? So I'm not going anywhere this year. We're going to socially distance. We're going to do whatever. We're going to stay here or, whatever. And you stick to it. Now, these two will argue and fight and try to make you feel guilty. And because it's a win. Remember, narcissists have to win at all costs. And I do mean at all costs. And so if they don't get you and the other parents don't get you, then they're pissed because in their mind, they've lost. Or if the other set of parents get you for the holiday, they're pissed because they lost. So it's just, it's so hard on new couples, especially when you're dealing with narcissistic in-laws, narcissistic parents, and they're, come over here. No, come over here. So I hate to say it, but this year COVID is a great excuse. Nope, we're not going anywhere. We're staying home. We're quarantining. We're not going to travel. We're not going to go to your house. We're not going to go to their house. We're going to have our own little Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's here. So thanks for playing, but no. And you're going to have to stick to your guns. And you have to have a plan, because trust me, narcissists already have it in their head how they're going to ruin the holidays. Okay, so that's the next big topic, right? So the next big topic is, besides them fighting over the new couple or the kid, or even when the kid leaves and starts their own life and is, living out on their own, they start guilt tripping them to try to get them to come home and all of this stuff. All right, so why? Why do narcissists ruin holidays? Okay, it's not just holidays that they will ruin. They will ruin birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, any day that's important, holidays, you name it, anything that is important. So what's going on in the brain of a narcissist or a dark triad is that they cannot, listen to me now, believe me later, they cannot feel the joy of the season. They don't feel joy. They do not feel joy. Listen to me now, believe me later. They do not feel joy. They do not feel happiness. They do not feel the joie de vivre. They cannot feel it. So when they see happy couples, happy kids, happy family members, happy whatever, it literally enrages them. like enrages them. Like, how dare you feel this when I'm so miserable? That is exactly what they're doing. So they're pissed off that they cannot feel. And they don't get, like the rest of us, it's like the holiday season, right? So it's like with Thanksgiving, it's like this today, for example. What have I been doing this morning? I've been cooking. I've been cooking because I love cooking. I love making stuff. It makes me happy and it makes people happy to eat it. So I'm happy. So it's fun and I enjoy it. But a narcissist would get pissed off and start interrupting and start, well, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you da 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 da? Because they cannot stand somebody having fun. They cannot stand somebody having a good time. So what a narcissist will do, and this is what blows people's mind. They're always like, well, wait a minute, are they doing this on purpose? Let me answer that for you. Fuck yeah, they are. They are absolutely doing this on purpose. They have a plan in their head already when they walk into a gathering of how exactly they are going to blow this gathering apart. They have a plan in their head already how they're going to cause the most drama, the most hurt, the most harm, the most whatever they do. So what you want to do is you want to disrupt them. The thing about narcissists and most abusers is they really don't roll well with the changing scenery. They're not able to adapt. The rest of us, it's like stuff comes at us and we're like, okay, going over this way now. Oh, okay, going over this way now. Okay, we need to do that. Narcissists are unable to do that. They cannot adapt to the changing things. So what you want to do is you want to kind of call their play before they do it. So for example, narcissists tend to go by a playbook. They really do. I mean, if you watch them, their hoovers are all the same. Their nastiness is all the same. Their targets, you know who they're going to target. It's like there's always that one family member that the narcissist is going to go for. So what you want to do is you want to disrupt that. You want to absolutely disrupt that. You want to make sure that they do not have the chance to get to that target. So hold on a second. I forgot to say, if you are in Arizona, I can see you as a client. If you are outside of Arizona, you would have to call Susanna Quintana at susannaquintana.com because she can see people across state lines. I cannot. I forgot to say that in the beginning. Okay, sorry. There it is. Hello. Okay, so where was I? Brain gone. Too much sugar. Holy cow. Okay, so they are easily disrupted in that they don't roll with the punches. So you've got to have a game plan. And I think where targets of abuse really get into trouble is that inner child, again, keeps hoping that mom, dad, Uncle Bill, whoever is going to behave normally. That finally, for once, can we please just have a peaceful, happy Thanksgiving dinner where people are not screaming at each other over politics and religion and whatever, right? Because that's what narcissists do. Oh, they will walk in and start those hot button topics. Now, granted, I do think that we all should be talking about politics and religion because the fact that we don't talk about it has created it being this big thing that we don't talk about. However, narcissists use it to create drama. They use that to create chaos, okay? So if you've got a family member that is going to walk in and spout whatever just to kind of, what they love to do is they love to poke, 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 boom, it explodes. Everybody's yelling at each other. And they kind of sit back with the popcorn going, haha, look what I did. Haha, that kind of thing. So what you want to do is you want to assign somebody to them. That's one way to handle it. Honestly, the best way to avoid the whole damn thing is don't have Thanksgiving with them. It's okay to say no. Let's just get that out of the way right now. So if you don't want to have Thanksgiving with these bozos, don't. If you are not related to them, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, create your own traditions, create your own thing. Be willing to be a rebel and go off and do your own thing. If you have to have Thanksgiving with them. Now, I remember when John and I got married, we felt obligated, right? Because we were young and we didn't know and, all of that stuff. So we felt obligated. So we went. And inevitably, it was either my father or somebody on his side of the family that would start something horrible. So, if there's alcoholics in the family, you can bet there's going to be drama. If there's somebody who's mentally not there, you can bet there's going to be drama. And when I say mentally not there, I mean like a narcissist, a malignant borderline, a drama queen, histrionic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what a narcissist will do is sometimes they're covert. Sometimes they're really manipulative and covert. So like, let's say you're hosting the dinner, right? You're a brand new groom or bride and you're doing the dinner for the family for the first time. The narcissist will walk into the kitchen and start second guessing everything you're cooking. Seriously, like swear to God, hand on a Bible, they'll walk in and they'll be like, well, why are you doing it that way? Well, we don't do it that way. We do it this way. And it's, when you're young, you don't feel like you have the right to tell the new mother-in-law or the new father-in-law to saw it off, right? Go pound sand. You don't feel like you can do that, but you need to, because what they're doing is they're testing the boundaries. They're seeing how far they can go. They're seeing how manipulated you can be, kind of thing. So if you're hosting the dinner at your house, you basically make it a rule. Nobody in the kitchen except the cook. Seriously. It's like, cook and the assistant, and that's it. And you're not my assistant. Thank you. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, the more covert ones will kind of do that kind of thing. The overt ones I have seen walk into a family situation. Everybody's having a great time. They're talking, they're laughing, they're getting along. And then the narcissist will bring something up from the past that one of them have done that's either humiliating, embarrassing, a touchy subject, whatever, and they'll bring it up. And then, of course, that kills the mood like that. And then everything goes really quiet and it's really tense. And, and then the person who's being attacked feels awful, And so narcissists love to do shit like that. They really do. So, and then in another situation, and I'm talking about personal experience here. I'm talking about things that either John's family has done, my family has done, etc. The other thing that they'll do is that they'll walk in, and if they can't quite figure out who to target, they'll literally go around the room and insult each person to see who's going to respond. Yeah. So basically what you want to do if you're in a situation like that, have a time limit on it. Have a time limit on it. Like if you're not hosting and you're just there, use an excuse. Seriously. So like this year, like I said, COVID is the perfect excuse because it's kind of like, oh, darn, epidemic, can't go anywhere. Sorry, that kind of thing. If though you have to go or you feel obligated to go and you still haven't quite got to that point yet where your self-esteem is strong enough and your boundaries are strong enough to say no, which again, Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. There's a book by Pia Melody. Pia Melody. And then there's Codependent No More by Brain Gone. Codependent No More, and Beyond Codependent No More. I'll think about it. Sorry. Anyway, so the point being is you've got to have good self-esteem. You've got to have good boundaries in order to stand up to these bozos and say no, because if you don't, they're going to mow right over you. So the covert one is going to take over the dinner, and then they're going to be the martyr. I had to cook the whole meal. This new groom, this new bride didn't know how to do it. I had to do the whole thing. Look at me, poor me, poor me. Right? Or you're going to have the overt narcissist come in and pick and see who's going to react. I'm going to tell this person they're fat. I'm going to tell this person they're stupid. I'm going to tell this person. And they do. Literally, they walk in and they start insulting each person to see where they're going to go. So what you want to do is have an excuse before you even walk in. Have an excuse before you even walk in. We've got a dog, and so whenever we go out and we're at a place where we're kind of like, I don't know if we really want to be here or how long we want to stay. Oh gosh, our pup's been in the kennel for 3 hours. We got to go. We got to let him out. Sorry. Great to see you. Have a great night. You guys have fun. We're going to go let the dog out. And then we're like, got out of that one. So, you have an excuse, it's like, oh, we have to be up early in the morning or, whatever, or you just sneak out, it's like, okay, well, this is too much. We're not going to stay. You're under no obligation to stay, guys. This is the thing. I think the thing of it is that when we have been in a narcissistic family, we are so inundated with guilt and with obligation and maybe even fear, if we're afraid of the family members or we're afraid of what they're going to say or do, you basically got to take your own power back and not care. You really do. You have to take your own power back and not care what they're going to say or what they're going to do, because they are going to say and do whatever they're going to say and do, and you cannot control it. So, but what you can control is you can control how long you stay. You can control whether or not you stay. You can control whether or not you even go. So inevitably, and I know I've talked about this before, in the situation where we had the huge family gathering and the guy was going around insulting everybody, eventually he would get rip-roaring drunk and the kids would literally have to carry the guy out out to the car and then drive him to the house and put him in bed. So, that doesn't sound like fun to me. And it wasn't fun to watch, because then it was like John and I were left to kind of console the kids who got insulted, and help them, hey, Tim doesn't know what he's saying. Just let it go. It wasn't personal. He's talking about himself, that kind of thing. But yeah, so you really want to be able to have an out. And like I said, this year, totally easy. It's COVID. You can simply say you're social distancing, you're quarantining, you're whatever. Nope, not going to do it this year. And here's the other thing. If you choose to do your own thing, you are under no obligation to answer the door. You're under no obligation to pick up the phone. You're under no obligation to answer emails or texts or anything else like that. Not your problem. You don't have to converse with these people. If you've chosen to have them out, then you don't have to have a conversation with them. So what I've also seen narcissists do is that leading up to the holidays, they will start, like I said, with the hoovers. I talked about that the other day, the pandemic hoover, the holiday hoover, all of that. And if they are doing that and then you go, you're going to get more of that in person. They're going to try to lay on the guilt. They're going to try to lay on the obligation and the fear and, all of that stuff. So you have to get to the point where you're like, you know what? No means no. And I don't want to go and I'm not going to do it and whatever. So the other thing you can do too is you can just simply tell people you're going to be out of town. Going to be out of town. Sorry. You have other plans. Sorry. Or I have other plans. And the other plans are to not be with you assholes. Do you see where I'm going with that? And they don't need to know. And again, this is where we get into trouble when we're dealing with narcissistic family, that we overshare. We tell them too much. They are on a need to know basis. Oh, sorry, gotta go. Dog's got to get out of the kennel. Well, can't you come back? We just don't like leaving him that long. Bye. And then leave. It's like you get out of there as quickly as possible. You do not owe anybody an explanation. You do not have to overshare. And you have to have a plan. So this is what I'm saying. This is really important. If you are hosting it at your house, have a plan. If you choose to have these people over, I use the term people loosely. If you choose to have the narcissistic people over, have somebody assigned to them, so that if they start to try to cause trouble, they get distracted and they get thrown off their game. Because like I said, they don't roll well with the punches. They don't. They're not able to, switch gears and move quickly and change directions. They'll try, but they're kind of slow at it. Because in their head, they already have a way of how they're going to ruin the day. Because remember, this enrages them. Happiness enrages them. Joy enrages them. And so when they see people laughing and having fun, they get pissed as all hell and they want to ruin it. So they'll either do the murder thing, like I said, or they'll do the Tim thing, like I said, which is going around insulting people, or they'll just, for some reason, just come unglued and start raging for no apparent reason, drink too much, whatever. So what you want to do is you want to have somebody assigned to them. So when John and I got married, both of us have got plenty of drama queens in our families. So we basically assigned groomsmen and bridesmaids to certain people and said, okay, you got to watch this person and keep this person away from that person. And it actually went pretty smoothly because they did. They were able to distract. It's like, look over here, don't look over here, look over here, and that worked out well. And otherwise, I think there would have been drama. But the other part of it was too, is that we made it incredibly clear. Anybody starts drama, you're out. We will have you removed. So, and I think that's something that we all have to get to the point of being able to do. is to have those kind of boundaries where you're not afraid. Yeah, they're gonna smear. They're not gonna like it. They're gonna call every single family member and friend that they possibly can. How dare they not let me do my little drama dance? Okay, well, too bad I don't care. Because remember, the people who are willing to believe the sob story of the narcissist, the smear campaign of the narcissist, those people are not your tribe. They are not your tribe. They're not the ones who are going to support you. They're not the ones who are going to believe you. Anyone who is willing to believe the worst of you is not your friend. They are not your friend. They are not your people. And you got to remind yourself of that. Not everybody is going to like us. They're not, you know? And if they side with the abuser, guess what? They're a flying monkey. So the best way to avoid the whole damn thing is to just not go, not participate, have good boundaries. The second best thing to do is, okay, you're going to have good boundaries. You got a plan in place. You got people assigned so that it's relatively smooth, that kind of thing. So that's the other thing you can do. Or, the third option is you just simply have other plans. I'm sorry, we've got other plans. We're not going. Or you have an out so that you get there and you can be like, okay, things are starting to go south. Oh gosh, look at the time. Got to go let the dog out. Or, I'm sorry, but we have a previous engagement, or, and they'll not like that. They'll hate any excuse you come up with. Remember, it's the grand drama for them. And when they are in that mode of wanting to destroy, and remember, they do. So when I say narcissists want us all dead, I'm not kidding, guys. They want us soul dead. They want us physically dead. They want us mentally dead, emotionally dead, the whole thing. And they love to ruin holidays that are especially important to people. So what are the important holidays? Well, all of them. But like I said, they'll ruin graduations, they'll ruin birthdays, they'll ruin whatever, because it's not about them and because they cannot feel the joy of the season. So like for example, like a graduation, like you watch somebody graduate, you're so proud of them. You're like, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you for getting your degree. Whereas a narcissist will start a fight about how you did your hair, or the fact that you swear, or the fact that you're wearing a certain color clothes, or whatever. I mean, because they're pissed. They cannot be happy for anybody else. And holidays, when people really do enjoy each other, they get livid that they can't feel that. And they want to punish anybody who does. So basically, you have to make it so you don't allow that. You just don't. And if they start doing their bullshit, you do their gray rock. It's like, oh, fascinating. I'm sorry, I have to go get the stuffing, and then you leave. You're under no obligation to sit there and listen to them the whole damn time. That's the other thing they'll do. They will monopolize conversations, and they'll try to monopolize the dinner table situation. So you want to try to have the situation, the table set up so that they're not near anybody they can start stuff with. So they always put Tim at the furthest end of the table if he lasted that long. Usually he didn't, because he was usually falling down drunk before dinner happened. And, make sure that he was close to the door so that when he finally got to that point, it was easy to get him out, So you kind of have to think like that if you're choosing to go through with a big family dinner. And, and the hope is that most of the family is kind of on the same team. So it was kind of nice in John's family that most of the family was on the same team as far as Tim was concerned, and we were able to get him out of there and minimize the damage. But you're going to have to think ahead like that. And we get stuck in this fantasy. We get stuck in this Hallmark fantasy of, gosh, maybe this year. Gosh, maybe this time they're going to be the parents I needed. Gosh, maybe this time, aunt and uncle will actually stay sober and we'll have a great Thanksgiving or a great Christmas or whatever. You can't do that. You've got to really do the inner child workbook. Serious, swear to God, serious as a heart attack. Do the inner child workbook, work with your inner child, remind your inner child. It's like, no, they're not going to change. They do not change. They do not change. They do not change. They don't. So, and especially at this point in the game, they're not going to change. If they'd been raised by somebody different, maybe they would have turned out differently. But remember, nature, nurture, they are the way they are. They're stuck in their ways. They're not going to change. They have no empathy. They're not going to get better, guys. They're not. And the holidays are not going to suddenly turn into a holiday Hallmark movie. They're not. It's going to be more like, Jason meets Christmas. It'll be a horror movie. So you've got to base yourself in reality. Be prepared for them to be complete asswipes. Have an out if you're just visiting. If you're there, have a plan. Because like I said, narcissists and borderlines malignant have this grand drama planned out in their head already before they even get there. Like I said, Tim would absolutely know exactly what to say to each person to harm them. He knew exactly what he was going to say. It was like a pre-programmed thing, and you just kind of watched him. He wound himself up, and then he walked around the room and insulted every single person. And so you break that. So like when he came to me and he was like, "Oh, you're fat, you're old, you're ugly," and I was 20 something at the time, and definitely not any of those things. I laughed at him. I was like, "Ha, ha, good one, Tim," and I walked off. And it pissed him off, but oh well, and he didn't know what to do. So he kind of like, and then sat in his couch and got drunk the rest of the night. But yeah, you don't take them seriously. You cannot. That's what they want. They want to be taken seriously. They think they have a sense of gravitas, that they are serious and everything must be taken seriously. No, you don't. You're under no obligation to believe anything that they have to say. In fact, every time they're insulting somebody at the dinner table, they're talking about themselves. And really, it's kind of sad and pathetic to watch, and it is kind of funny. So you kind of get to that point where you have this sense of humor about it and don't take it seriously. If I took seriously every time Tim walked up and insulted me, I'd be a puddle of yuck on the floor, and I would have had a miserable time. And I didn't. It's like I would not give him that power. Do not give your abusers that power. Don't give them when your night or your day or your holiday or whatever. Have some humor about it. Wow, they're fucked up. It sucks to be them. And you go on with your life and you go on with the day. Because the whole thing of it is they want to see the damage that they've done. And this is what really sucks, is that you can tell what their agenda is when they get that narcissistic smile, that narcissistic sneer, when they've landed something and it stuck and the other person was kind of like, taken aback or hurt or harmed by it. And then they just, I gotcha. Ha ha, bitch. They're just horrible human beings because no normal human being does that. Sorry, they just don't. So you can tell what their agenda is by how they react when somebody reacts to them. You want a gray rock. You just want a gray rock, not take them seriously. Don't allow it in. Don't give your power away. And honest to God, the biggest thing you want to do is not have them around. If you can avoid having them around in the holidays, by all means, do your own thing. Do your own thing. And this is what I encourage young couples when they get married. It's like create your own traditions. And only invite the people that you really want. You are under no obligation to invite all of these family members if you don't want them. And if they get offended that you didn't invite them, too bad. It's your house. Disease to please, Harriet Breaker. Boundaries. Good self-esteem so that you feel comfortable saying no. Narcissists don't like it when we tell them no. Narcissists do not like it when we tell them no. Narcissists don't like it when we don't take them seriously. Narcissists don't like it when we take our power back and don't allow them to ruin the night. But that's kind of what you got to do. You've got to be brave, and you've got to say no, and you've got to draw the boundaries, and you've got to have a game plan. So, okay, so-and-so starting to act up. Okay, why don't we, hey, Aunt Bertha, you know what? I really need you in the kitchen right now. I can't do it. I need only you. It strokes their ego, gets them away from everybody. Now they're in the kitchen. Now you got to come up with something that they actually have to do. For me, it's gravy. For some reason, I cannot do gravy. It always ends up lumpy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Anyway, so the point being is you call them into the kitchen. You get them away from the other people. You come up with an excuse that only they can help you. And, I'm so grateful and da-da-da-da-da. Bullshit. But it gets them away from whoever they were targeting. So that is basically, in a nutshell, how to handle the holidays. You say no if you don't want them around. You draw boundaries. You do not let them take your power away from you. You do not take them seriously. You assign somebody to them to distract them if you see them starting to go through that I'm going to ruin the night thing. And you can tell, it's almost like you could set your watch by it. And you can almost like tell by the look on their face that they're about to start their tirade. And that's when you distract them. That's when you're like, oh, I really need you over here. Oh, come over here. Da, 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 da. So you do that whole thing. But honest to God, I think the important thing is if you realize you're coming from a narcissistic family, and like I said, the narcissistic in-laws and the narcissistic parents, whoever they are, whether they're on one side or the other or both, view the new couple as a prize to be won. And I think at that point, it's really important that the couple is in couples counseling to get on the same page so that they can ward off both of the abusive parents. I'm going to cough, hang on. And you want to draw boundaries and create your own traditions. I think that is the biggest thing that I would tell people is if you're a new couple and you've got parents trying to guilt trip you and fear and obligation, the whole thing, tell them both sod off, however way you need to say it, but create your own traditions. Go do your own thing. Create your own stuff. Be your own unit. You're under no obligation to be with these people. And if they're narcissistic, they're both going to be pissed off about it, but oh well. Work on self-esteem, work on boundaries. That is the biggest thing. So, okay, we are at the 12:30. And since I am not in my studio, John is going to have to read the questions to me and I will read them and then answer them so that you can hear what the question was. And then I will answer them. All right, Johnny, hit it.
What to do about the holiday attempts to ignore no context, like an invitation to a family meal from the enabling parent when you're in no contact with the other one.
Okay, so what to do about attempts to ignore the no contact rule? Like, let's say you've told your family, nope, we are no contact. So the enabling parent, maybe not the narcissist, but the one who is enabling the narcissist, then sends an invite to go have dinner, right? Is that the question? So what do you do when that happens? So you stay no contact. You say, thank you very much for the invite. We are still no contact. Have a nice Christmas. Bye. And this is common. This is very common. So the enabling parent is a flying monkey and they are living in fog. They are living in fear, obligation, and guilt. They've got whatever other issues are going on with them. And so they will try to act as the diplomat or the emissary between you and the abuser, and you just got to stay no contact. Do not feel guilty. Now, they're going to guilt trip you, guarantee it. They're going to, either the abuser will or the enabler will send you a follow-up email. I'm just heartbroken that you're not talking to us, blah, 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 blah. But here's the deal. If you've asked for no contact, by breaking the no contact, they are showing you that they don't respect you. Especially if you've been like, okay, look, we need to go no contact. We need to go no contact for at least a year or whatever. If you're trying it out to see, if your life is better without them, etc. And then they keep doing the contact thing so that you don't ever really get no contact because they keep contacting you. That shows the utter lack of respect for your wishes. Absolutely. I'm sorry, but if somebody said, Chris, I really don't want to talk to you for a year, I would be like, okay. And I would let them reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like if they're saying no contact, well, then that's no contact. But remember, narcissists don't respect boundaries. They don't have respect for themselves. They don't have respect for anybody else. And they sure as heck don't like the lack of power and control that they have. So they will break that no contact. So you just, thank you for the invite, but no thank you. We're still no contact. That's all you need to do. Okay, next question.
I've been low contact and gray rocking for a number of months with my mother. She tried hoovering for a number of months, and now she's mirroring me again, like love bombing. Mm-hmm. Does that mean my gray rock is working?
Yes. So the question is, I've been gray rocking and low contact with my mother for a number of months, and now she's hoovering. She's hoovering.
She's tried hoovering.
She's tried hoovering for a number of months.
She's mirroring me, love bombing.
Okay, now she's love bombing.
Does that mean my gray rock is working?
Does that mean the gray rock is working? Yes. So again, narcissists cannot not, double negative, cannot not follow their own script. So it's like I've said 100,000 million times, it's almost as if there is a handbook that every single one of these wackadoodles gets and they follow it. So they do whatever hoover they think is going to work. So they do the love bombing, they do the guilt tripping, they do the obligation, they do the fear, they do the religious stuff, they do the, whatever they think is going to make you get back into contact with them. You just keep doing what you're doing. You just keep doing what you're doing. You need to be safe. You need to be okay. Yeah, it's working. But just realize they're going to cycle through all the different ways to hoover. So yeah. Okay. Next question.
Do you have any advice or tips on ways to avoid being baited by the narcissist?
Do I have any advice or tips on ways to avoid being baited by the narcissist? So this is really, again, everything boils down to self-esteem and boundaries. So the narcissist will do and say whatever they think is going to work to get you to either roar like a bear. So remember, reactive abuse, they poke, and then you finally roar back, and then they're all, oh, look at you, you're the abuser, blah, 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 blah. Right? So they either do that, or they bait you trying to get you into a conversation because they would rather have a fucked up, dysfunctional connection to somebody than no connection at all. So you just basically have to decide, how much contact are you willing to have with this person? If you know they're going to bait you, don't be around them. If they're going to email you and text you and try to get you into a long drawn out, he said, she said, you're right, you're wrong, that type of thing, don't do it. Have your boundaries in place. What are you willing to put up with? What are you not willing to put up with? Do you have your list of deal breakers? So for example, when an abuser reaches out and does the whole, because remember, we're in the whole Hoover season. So the Hoover season, coupled with the pandemic Hoover season, is happening. And so what the abusers are doing are something along the lines of, oh, life is short and we just don't know where this pandemic is going. And so, we need to get back together and we need to talk, but we need to sweep everything under the rug and not deal with what I did, the narcissist, right? We need to sweep it under the rug and not deal with it and just start fresh. Really? How well does that work? Let me answer that. Not at all. So, they do that kind of hoover, pandemic hoover, life is short, we need to get together. Or if they are communal narcissists, they will do, the Lord Jesus Christ wants us to get together and come together as a family and love each other and forgive each other. What they're talking about is they want you to forgive them, but they're sure as hell not going to forgive you. So, because how many times has this happened, right? So the communal narcissist does that. The covert narcissist does the whole, you never write, you never call, I did all of this for you, you should feel guilty, blah, 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 that whole thing. And the overt narcissist usually doesn't care, but they will also do the whole, I just don't understand, I'm the greatest parent you've ever had, I'm fantastic, I'm this, I'm, and of course they throw in there, I'm never going to take responsibility for anything I did. It's all your fault. So basically when they do the hoovers like that, don't fall for them. Don't respond. Do not respond. If you've already established no contact and you've said, look, unless you're in DBT therapy and you're working on yourself, I'm not interested. Unless you've established some sort of boundary like that, you just don't have contact with them. If they write back and, well, I really want to get back into touch with you and blah, 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 blah. Okay, are you in DBT therapy? Are you working on yourself? Oh, you're not? Okay. No, we're done. Bye. Because it's like, what do you think is going to happen? How many times before in the past have you reached out to the abuser trying to mend the relationship? And then what they do is they go, oh, goody, goody, goody. They're back in touch with me. I'm going to lay this guilt trip on them. I'm going to lay this fear on them. I'm going to lay this obligation on them. And they're off and running and they're loving it. That's the other thing that they'll do is that when they do the hoover, they expect an immediate response. They want you to respond immediately. Like if you sit on it for a few days, they're hating life because they want an immediate response, immediate response, immediate response, immediate response. So what you want to do is you want to sit on whatever email or text you've gotten from them and really decide, do you really want to respond to that? Do you really want to stroke their ego? Do you really want to feed that fire? And if the answer is no, then don't. You're under no obligation to have conversations with anybody. And again, here's the big question to ask yourself. If you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? If you were not married to this person, would you have anything to do with them? If you were not already in a friendship with them, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. Abso-fucking-lutely. All right, next question.
Somebody has a question about how to handle the giving gifts. Like if you're getting gifts from them, should you exchange gifts even though you know it's going to be a bad situation? That might be a hoover in itself.
So the giving gifts over the holidays. So what to do if the abuser is sending you gifts or you're doing a gift exchange and you have to give them a gift to give back? That is one of the classic ways that abusers hoover. So what they'll do is if it's an abusive parent and you've got kids, they'll send gifts to your kids. And now you're stuck going, do I give the gift to the kids? Do I send it back? Especially if you're no contact. So again, they're trying to use the kids as pawns to get to you. So it really is, what do you want to do? Some clients that I have choose to take the gift and then not acknowledge it. Just kind of like, okay, I've said no contact. This is no contact, whatever. Others take the gift and donate it, which I think is great. It's like good because there are other kids out there that need stuff. Others send it back, so it really depends on what you want to do with that. You are under, again, no obligation. If you've said no contact and they continue to send the kids gifts or send you gifts and there's this obligation, then yeah, it's a way to keep that dysfunctional connection going. That's what they're looking for. So basically you handle it however you feel good with. Like I said, some of my clients send the gifts on, they wrap them up, they do the Secret Santa and they give it to, less fortunate people. And I think that's great. Others keep the gifts, don't say anything to the kids. Don't let the kids know that this is from grandma and grandpa, whatever. And others send them back to the parents with, no contact, period. So it just depends on how you want to handle it. And there is no right answer. There really is no right answer. But do be aware that gifts are often used as a form of obligation. So if there's strings attached, don't. Just don't. Just do yourself a favor and don't. So, all right, next question.
Okay. How do you handle the guilt of you need to take care of your toxic parents in their old age? Basically the whole guilt about you never write.
You never write, you never call. Okay, so how do you handle the guilt about you need to take care of your toxic parents in their old age? Here's the deal. It's not your problem. It's not your job. It's not. If they have been abusive and they are toxic beyond belief, it's not your job to take care of them. If they wanted to be taken care of, here's a clue. How about they not act like a bunch of walking, flatulating orifices? Just saying. That's the thing. It's not your job. But a lot of people will try to guilt trip the kid that chooses not to do that. So there was a great movie. It's funny. I was talking about it earlier today with, people. It's called like Water for Chocolate. And it's an older movie, like way older, like what, 30 years old? Jesus Christ, we're old. Anyway, great movie, very romantic, very sad. And it was about this group of children, these daughters that were raised by this mother. And there was this tradition in the family where the youngest never married and ended up taking care of the moms, right? And so even though the mom was young and fit and could take care of herself, she insisted that the younger daughter never marry and take care of her. And of course, the younger daughter fell in love with this guy and they ended up dying. And it's just really tragic and depressing, but beautiful movie. Anyway, but the mom was toxic. The mom was absolutely toxic. And the whole time I'm sitting here watching this movie going, run, get on the horse, ride out, get away from this Looney Tune. Because the mom could take care of herself. But yeah, you're under no obligation. If you were not related to them, would you have literally anything to do with them? If they wanted to be taken care of, how about they started acting like decent, normal human beings? Because I'll tell you what, decent, normal human beings like to take care of decent, normal human beings. So like my mom, for example, she goes into the care facility because she couldn't care for herself. She had heart issues and all that sort of stuff. And we visited her, like Terry visited her every day. I visited her once a month because that's how much I could afford to fly up there. So, we visited her often and we would talk with her. But there was lots of people in that care facility that nobody visited. You know why? Because they were nasty, capital N, walking, flatulating orifices. Total dark triads collapsed. And the only people that they could push around were the staff, which is stupid because the staff was there to, don't get me started. Anyway, the staff was there to help, and they would spit at them and try to bite them. And no, they did not have Alzheimer's. They were just fucking assholes. So yeah, it's not your job. It's not your job. It is not your job. If they wanted to be taken care of, how about they act like decent human beings? And anybody who tries to guilt trip you for that, my big question is, what's their relation to the parents? Are they flying monkeys? Are they passing the message along so that you feel guilty? If you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. Okay, next question.
I just wanted to point out somebody said there should be a meme like, you get a Hoover.
And you get a Hoover. And you get a Hoover. Yes, there should be a meme that says that. Oh my God, a meme, whatever. Yeah, it's seriously like I'm not kidding you guys. Literally everyone I know that I'm working with has gotten either the pandemic Hoover, the Christmas Hoover, the Thanksgiving Hoover, or a combination. So yeah, the Hoovers are flying fast and furious. So don't be surprised if you broke up with somebody and 20 years ago, and suddenly you're getting a text or an email or a Facebook request, I haven't heard from you in 20 years. Just wondering how you're doing. No, not today, Satan. Thank you. So yeah, it's happening. It's happening. So be careful. All right.
Okay. My dad is older now, and the inner child in me hopes that my mom and dad are going to be sweet and will have a great relationship.
Oh, bunny.
How can I have myself common sense? Basically.
So my dad is older now, and the inner child inside of me is hoping that my mom and dad
are going to be sweet, and
will have a great relationship. So this is kind of reality therapy. Narcissists do not change. They do not. And they certainly do not get better with time. In fact, they start collapsing and they get worse. Why? Because narcissists are terrified of dying. They are terrified of death. That's hence all the pandemic Hoovers. And it's like when they get older and the kids are not around and everybody else has got their own life going on, they turn on their spouse and they will just be horrible to the spouse. So no, they're not going to suddenly, have a clue and have an epiphany and be like, oh my gosh, I need to be nice. I need to be this. I need to be that. They're not going to do that. That doesn't happen. So Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor, start working it. PTSD, CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, start working it. The other thing you want to do is you want to write and burn. Write and burn. Write out your history. Write out your journal out your childhood. It's like, how did this person behave with you growing up? It's like, okay, little one, okay, little me, this guy's not going to change. This guy's not got therapy. He's not gone into therapy. He's not tried to get better. He's not working on himself. It's never going to change. And that's really hard for our inner child to get and accept because our inner child just wants to be loved. They just want everybody to get along. They just want the person to be nice. But they're not going to be. So you have to kind of work with your inner child. I'm going to cough again. No, it is not the Rona. Thank you very much. So what you have to do is maybe some guided imagery so that you talk to your inner child, have a conversation. So one way to do that is you close your eyes, you go somewhere safe, like really safe, like you're 100% safe there. So for me, beach, dogs running around, beach, safe. Love it. So you're there, you're at the beach, and you call your little inner child to you. How old are they? What do they look like? What are they wearing? Okay, have them come sit on your lap, and you just love them, hug them, kiss them, tell them how amazing they are. Great. Okay, what do you need, little one? What do you need? Well, I want mom and dad to get along. Okay, well, mom and dad are never going to get along. So here's kind of the thing. I'm now your mom and dad. I'm your mom and dad. Big U. Big U is the mom and dad. I'm going to be your mom and dad. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you're safe. I will be sweet to you. I will take care of you. I will protect you. I've got your back. What I need from you is that you let me be the adult. because you've been trying to keep safe and run the show, but from now on, I need to run the show. And what I need to tell you as the adult is, honey, dad's never going to be normal unless he's in DBT therapy for like a year and a half and doing group and individual, group and individual, group and individual. He's never going to change. And you know what? It's not because of you. You're awesome. You're an awesome kid. It's not because of you. It's because of him. I love you. Go play. And then send him off to play. So that's what you're going to do. While you're doing that, you may cry. You may feel angry. You may feel sad. You may feel whatever. Journal. Get it out of your head. Get it onto paper. Trot it out to the barbecue. Read it out loud once. Burn it. So that's what you're going to do. You got to talk to the inner child. You got to let them know that that's not reality, because that's a kid wish. That's a magic thinking kid wish. You know, I wish mom and dad could be normal. I wish that everybody could be happy. I wish that they would be sweet. I wish that they would be kind. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right. Next.
Let's see. Okay. So they're looking for advice. I protected my teenage son, who was the major scapegoat of my narc mother-in-law.
Okay, hold on. I protected my teenage son, who was the
major scapegoat
of my narc mother-in-law.
It's been a year with no contact.
A year, no contact.
And now they seem to have forgotten how bad it was, the son.
Oh, and now the son has forgotten how bad it was.
How do I handle that?
You be honest. You be open. You be, depending on how old the teenager, do they say how old the teenager is? So here's the deal. By the time kids are about 13, 14, they're old enough to read The Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. It's a great book, and you can just explain, you know what? This book describes how this person acted. I strongly suggest you read it so that you don't get taken advantage of by anybody, and you have them read it, and you read it together, and you discuss it, and you be open and you be honest. It's like open and honesty is the best way to go, because what really is bad is when people. So if you're dealing with like a divorce situation, obviously you don't want to be bad mouthing the ex, but you do need to be honest. Hey, the behavior was not normal. Hey, this is not the way a healthy, normal person behaves. You be honest with that. Does that make sense? So you're going to kind of do the same thing talking about the mother-in-law. It's like, this is not normal behavior. This is not how healthy people treat each other. This is not how they behave. This is not what they do. So you just be open and honest. Yeah. Next.
Okay. This is my first Christmas without the abusive ex of 13 years.
Oh, good for you. This is my first Christmas without the abusive ex of 13 years. Good job.
I'm really worried about being sad. Any tips on how to get into the spirit of Christmas, as I'm not feeling it this year?
Okay, and I'm not feeling the spirit of Christmas this year because of multiple things, I'm sure. Oh my God. Okay, so here's the deal. You've got to honor your grief. The first year is the hardest. Why? Because we got to get through all the firsts. And this goes for any kind of grief. This goes for a death grief. This goes for a breakup grief. This goes for, losing your dog. It goes for anything. It goes for anything. So that first year of grieving is going to be the hardest, because we're going to have to go through the first Thanksgiving, the first Christmas, the first New Year's, the first birthday, the first anniversary, the first, May Day? What the heck is May Day? 25th, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Halloween, boom, now we're back into the second year. So the first year is really getting through all the first. So you've got to honor your grief. Now, and I've talked about this before, our society sucks ass when it comes to grieving. Why? Because for some reason we've decided that that's weak, or that we shouldn't be doing it, or, we don't want to make people uncomfortable. Fuck that shit. We're human beings. When we feel pain, we tear up. When mammals feel pain, they tear up. So we're feeling pain. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to grieve. And what you're going to do is you're going to write it out. The good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific. At the very, very end, take your power back. So in other words, you're going to write your ex a letter. Dear ex, fuck the fuck out of fucking fuck you, asshole. Here's the love bombing you did. That was great. I thought you were my soulmate, but then the mask came off and you started doing this, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then I had to finally leave your sorry ass, and now I'm unhappy because it's Christmas and I'm not feeling the love and we're in the middle of a pandemic and you're a fucking asshole. Fuck you. And then you take your power back I am not going to let you live in my head rent-free one more goddamn second, motherfucker. Fuck you. I'm glad I'm rid of you. I get to have a happy Christmas. You know why? Because I fucking say so. Fuck the fuckity fuck out of fucking fuck you. Go to hell. Merry Christmas. Go fuck yourself. Trot yourself out to the barbecue. Read it out loud once. Burn it. Yep. So here's the deal. I'm sorry, I'm smiling at my husband. So here's the deal. It's like, you're gonna not feel great. And plus the fact we're in the middle of a goddamn pandemic. You know, I already put a Christmas tree up because I was just like, I don't know if you remember Auntie Mame. It was an old musical back in the, I don't know, 60s, something like that. And that's where the song We Need a Little Christmas came from. And I already put a Christmas tree up because I was like, you know what? Fuck this year. Fuck everybody. Fuck this shit. Fuck this pandemic. Fuck the politics. Fuck everything. Fuck. I'm putting a Christmas tree up. So I did. So we bought a Christmas tree, a brand new Christmas tree, right? 20. Fuck you, 2020. One string in the back won't light. And I'm just like, it's our 2020 Christmas tree. Now, I could have allowed to ruin it. And instead, I was like, nope, this is my 2020 Christmas tree. It makes sense that one string in the back won't light. We'll just turn it around. It's fine. So you got to allow yourself to see the absurdity of life because, you know, it kind of is. And find the joy. I love Christmas. Christmas is my favorite holiday because it's like the lights and the trees and the prezzies and the people and the food and the joy and the love and the singing. The singing is my favorite part, you know, so you just allow yourself to enjoy that without the abuser, because guarantee the abuser probably would have ruined it in some way, shape, or form. Now, for my family, Christmas was the only holiday that we sort of kind of caught a pass on because my dad was very religious and he loved Christmas. So Christmas was okay, not great, but at least it was okay. So allow yourself to find the joy and reach out to friends, socially distance, go do the drive-through things where you can see the lights, go for walks in the neighborhood, and remind yourself you are better off without the abuser. You are. I mean, is it lonely? Well, yeah, because you've been with them for 13 years and you're used to having somebody there, even though it was dysfunctional. But here's the deal. It's better the devil you don't know than the devil you know. But unfortunately, in our abused brains, we're always like, oh, it's better the devil I know than the devil I don't know. No. It's better for you to figure out who you are, what you want, where you're going, what makes you happy, how do you want to celebrate Christmas? And don't be afraid to reach out. Reach out to family and friends that are trusted, keyword, trusted family and friends, and allow yourself to grieve and allow yourself to find the joy in the season or whatever, or in any day. You know, gratitude goes a long way. Waking up in the morning and going, yes, I'm breathing and the sun's up. Woohoo! You know, that's a good thing to do. So it's also allow yourself to validate the feelings, allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to be angry, allow yourself to whatever you need. And it's going to be this way for the next year. And that's why I keep telling people, do not get involved in another relationship immediately. You are going to regret it because your picker is broken and you're just going to pick the same thing all over again. Stay single. Allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to process through. Why did you pick this person out here that might have reminded you of this person in your family? What the fuck is going on? CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving, Pete Walker. Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker. Self-esteem workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Start working them. Do it and allow yourself to grieve. Write and burn letters. It's really cathartic and it really does help, you know? So get it out of your head, get it onto paper, trot it out to the barbecue, burn it. Next question.
Is wanting people to die around them part of the projection?
Oh, yes. Is wanting people to die around them part of the projection? All right. Do you guys remember Lord of the Rings? Smeagol, right? So Smeagol was always just this nasty little thing. And, you know, he simultaneously loved and hated himself. That definition of a narcissist right there. Okay. Yes. When narcissists are saying things like, I want this person to die and I want that person to die and I want this person to die. They really, what they do is they want to die. And it's a weird dichotomy with abusers. So they are simultaneously terrified, like terrified of death, and yet they want to die. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And they will do things to hasten their end, and yet they're also horrible, bitter people, and they want everybody else around them to die. But yeah, that's kind of a projection that they themselves do want to die. My dad was constantly doing suicidal gestures. He would play chicken with us in the car. He didn't want to be alone when he died. He wanted to take one of us with him. Yay. So yeah, they've got this weird, but he was terrified of death. So, but yet he would do things like that. So yeah, it's one of those things where you just go, okay, this is their weirdness. I don't need to fix it. I don't need to analyze it. I just need to know it's there and stay the fuck away from them. Because if they're doing and saying that, then yeah. And plus, I think they want us all dead anyway. So yeah, stay away. But yeah, that's what they do. Did that answer the question? I really hope that answered the question. If it didn't answer the question, then I am me and I'll talk in depths. So, are we at time? Oh, geez, it's 1 o'clock. Holy cow, that went fast. All right, guys. So to wrap it up and to remind you guys, you're under no obligation. Honestly, find a way to have your own celebration if you can. And if you have to be around the narcissist, have a plan, and have somebody assigned to them so that they don't ruin the day. Don't take anything personally. Don't give them the gravitas that they think they deserve. Don't take anything seriously. Have some humor about it. Because remember, every rotten thing that's coming out of their mouth, it's like, wow, that's fascinating. That's all you. You're talking about yourself. Oh, interesting. So yeah, so do that. Anyway, you guys, have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. I will do some questions because I know I didn't get to all of them. And I also had the questions from last week that I didn't get to. It's been kind of crazy. So, all right, guys, love you. Be good. Be safe. Wear your mask. Do the social distancing. Have fun. Cook amazing food. Eat amazing food. Love yourselves. Work the workbooks. And I will talk to you next week. And the topic next week is going to be, why does my family not get it? We're going to talk about that. All right, kids, be good. Love you. Talk to you later. Bye.